How to find faults in your electric fence system. Finding faults in your electric fence system is a step-by-step process. This video will take you through the 3 parts of the process to determine what is causing the fault. Firstly, you need to check whether your energizer is working correctly. To do this, turn your energizer off at the power source. Disconnect the ground cable or wire leading to the earth or ground system from the green terminal knob and the lead-out cable to the fence from the red terminal knob. Turn the energizer back on. Using your Gallagher fault finder, attach the earth lead, this is the curly cord, and place the earth probe onto the earth terminal. Then put the voltage probe, which is on the fault finder, onto the red fence terminal. The reading tells you how well your energizer is working without any other variables. If the voltage reading is over 5,000 volts, then your energizer is working as expected. Turn the energizer off again and reconnect the fence lead-out cable to the red terminal knob and the ground cable to the green terminal knob. Then turn the energizer on. If there is no voltage, check there is power at the power source. Once you have established the power source is working and there is still little or no voltage, then the problem is with your energizer. You'll need to take your energizer back to your Gallagher dealer for further testing. The second step in the process is to check to see if your earth or ground system is working correctly. Many problematic electric fence systems can be attributed to an ineffective earth system. This is particularly prevalent in drier or sandy areas. In these situations, Gallagher recommends you should install a super earth kit as part of your electric fence system. To check for a faulty earth, ensure your energizer is connected to your fence and to the earth system and power source is on. Simulate a large fault on the fence. This can be done by placing a steel rod against the fence and contacting a well-earthed object, such as one or more steel posts driven into the ground. Put the earth probe on your fault finder into the ground and touch the voltage probe onto the earth or ground stake. Check the measurement on your fault finder. If the reading is below 0.3 kilovolts, then the earth is working with the current load on the fence. If the reading is greater than 0.3 kilovolts, then there is a problem with the earth. To rectify the earth fault, you'll need to improve the quality of your earth. This can be done by firstly fixing any joint or cabling issues. If that does not resolve the problem, then you can put the earth or ground stakes into more conductive soils or add more earth or ground stakes. If you're still having trouble establishing an effective earth, then Gallagher recommends you consider using super earth kits. Once you've established your energizer and earth are both working correctly, you can move on to the third step, fault finding on your fence line. To assist in this step, it is important to know your fence and be familiar with the voltage and current on your fence line when it's performing effectively. This will vary between properties and across properties. To check for faults on your fence line, you need to use amps on the fault finder, not volts. To find a fault on your fence, you need to follow the flow of the electricity called current, which is measured in amps. Normally, the bigger the amps reading, the worse the fault, but this must be kept in context with the length of the fence and what is normal for your fence. A rule of thumb is about 2.5 amps per kilometre of fence. However, normal can be much higher or lower than this depending on soil type, number of wires and vegetation load. To start the process, choose a point on the fence close to the energizer and using your fault finder, take an amp reading. If it is a multi-wire fence, ensure you check each of the wires. Follow the direction of the arrow on your fault finder to follow the current of your fence. Walk the fence line checking at regular intervals, say every 100 meters and at every junction point. When the current load drops off, you have passed the fault. Some faults will be obvious and others, such as a broken insulator, are less obvious. To find the less obvious faults, you'll need to walk the fence line at short intervals to find where the current drops off to identify the fault. When the fault is found, turn the power off. How this is done depends on the electric fence system on your farm. You can go back to the energizer and turn it off, go to a cutout switch nearby and turn that off, or for those with an I-series energizer and remote, you can use the remote to turn the fence off on the spot. Once the fence is turned off, you can repair the fault. When the repair is complete, the power can be turned back on via the energizer, the cutout switch, or by using the remote. Test the fence and see if the voltage has returned to what is normal on your property for effective performance. If it has not returned to normal voltage, continue following the current to find